Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As my voice cracked, what just suddenly wants to go happen then. But hello, everyone. Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. It's a little bit of a different episode tonight for you guys. Of course, we're not going to be talking mainly about Liverpool news, of course, as beautifully modelled by, of course, Jack down below. Of course, Bayern Munich have been the biggest conversation, the biggest topic this season in terms of course, getting rid of their manager. Of course, Julian Nagelsmann getting sacked yesterday, which I think pretty much shocked the whole of Europe in that regard, and getting replaced by Thomas Tuchel, of all people. Anyway, but of course, we're going to be talking about that as well. We're also going to be speaking about Jurgen Klopp as well, potentially being offered the Bayern job as well for next summer. And of course, we'll speak all about what's happened over the last 24 hours as well. But of course, you can see I'm joined by, of course, Jack and Tom as well. Tom's probably relieved that we're not talking about the Ev in this episode, getting certainly investigated for certain things. But how are we, Tom?
Yeah, not too bad. He's cheers for having me on, lads. But I don't think we'll be signed the Ev. Up the Ev.
Incoming 6 points. Yeah, boy.
It's like Everton are like, oh, what's the worst thing that can happen? Juventus got dropped to, what was it, 20 points? What can possibly go wrong?
I might hold my beer or hold me 10 grams. Give us the that's the money, Bill.
Absolutely. And Jack as well. How are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. I made up that my team's still in the Champions League, so it's happy days. All good.
So he was going to do this at start behind the scenes, and yeah, of course, Jack's team's just scored. To be fair, in the women's game, I think. Oh no, it's Sandra.
No.
I thought it was a goal. Anyway, but hopefully all of you are having a fantastic day. Anyway, and again, I want to bring a little bit of a different episode for you guys tonight. But I want to quickly talk before we speak about, of course, the news. Of course, we've set up a Discord channel now for you guys as well. I was gonna.
I thought that said something else. It cut out your mic then.
Discord. We do have a Discord.
Yeah.
Again, I'm glad we do it over the watershed, because if this wasn't before it, then again, I can't trust Makendo.
Best content out there on YouTube, mate.
That is very, very true anyway. But there is a link in the description and now in the chat as well. If anyone does want to join the Discord group as well, of course, it's a work in progress, but we're getting there slowly. Anyway, but Brian's in as well, saying evening, folks. Hopefully on a fantastic day. Brian as well. Of course, there's the Discord link as well, and of course, Doug saying down. That's definitely not pointed towards anyone.
Not gonna happen, mate. Fake news, lads.
According to Tom. Oh, no mind. I took Tom off by mistake.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Let's come down there in the moment.
But for God's sake, this stream's already going to mess. But anyway, we will move on. We will speak, of course, the exclusive news that was reported by Fabrizio Romano yesterday around this time, saying that, again, exclusive, FC Bayern are seriously considering to sack Julian Nagelsmann, a decision being discussed internally. The club could fire him soon, understood Thomas Tuchel, leading candidate to potentially take FC Bayern job. And of course, it's come out, obviously, that he is officially sacked. And I think the worst part about it is the fact that he was he was on holiday, I think in France. So again, he was finding out about this as we were in that regard. But Jack, how did you react when you first heard the news of Bayern looking to, first of all, sack Julian Nagelsmann, and then looking to replace him with Thomas Tuchel?
Madness, mate, in all honesty. But I think the one season in the last 10 years in the Bundesliga, Bayern have struggled. They've very much acted quite quickly and decisively in terms of getting rid of Julian Nagelsmann, obviously coming from Hoffenheim, a young, inexperienced coach that obviously broke into the European scene quite early in his managerial career. Obviously playing against Liverpool, didn't we? We remember that game, and in the European qualifier, nearly stage Jurgen Klopp's tenure. But yeah, it's disappointing. But as we've already spoke about, in the modern era of football, I think that these top elite sides of every club, that even if you lose one or two games as a manager, you're still going to be under such tight scrutiny in reality. I think for me, Bayern should have kept hold on Nagelsmann for at least another 6 months, because they're not that far off in terms of the Bundesliga. Currently, as it stands, a point behind Borussia Dortmund on the same amount of games played. Yes, Bayern fans are used to buying more or less, as you know, 10 consecutive Bundesliga titles. So, but it's not like I was saying today before we come on air, it's not like buying a 10, 12 points behind Dortmund. They're only a bloody points, but that's Bayern Munich for you, the expectations.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's the maddening thing about it, Tom, as well as the fact that, as Jack alluded to, they are only a point behind Dortmund, with them playing Dortmund next, in fact, as well in the Bundesliga. It feels like a very much rush decision, but then judging from what we've heard from the higher ups at Bayern Munich, it seems like this has been in the works behind the scenes for quite some time. But what do you mainly think about Tuchel coming in as well? And I think it's a very different concept of styles, considering both. Again, you've got Tuchel 5 at the back, Nagelsmann attacking 3 at the back system. How do you think that the Bayern players are going to fare with that as well?
For me personally, I think they probably could adapt. They do have the players to do that. They could probably put more Kimmich more into the right wing back kind of role, and instead of playing him in the middle. But to be fair, I think it's a bit madness for it just to sack him after only 3 games that they've lost all season. It's crazy. I like you say, it probably might have been in the works for a long time, but for someone to get sacked in like one of the first seasons is not right, especially how far they've come, especially doing well in the Champions League and getting City. You would at least give him till the end of the season to see what he could potentially do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big expectation. I'm going to quickly get the Bayern director up and what he's had to say on why Nagelsmann has got sacked. I'll quickly make that a bit bigger for you guys as well. But he did go on to say that after thorough analysis of the sporting development of our team, especially since January and the experience of the second half of the previous season, we have now decided together to release Julian, which and judging from, I was listening to a Bayern podcast yesterday, last night, and they were going on about it, and they were like, well, you've got the likes of Joel Cancelo that's come in, and he hasn't performed, I think, as what Bayern fans thought he would have done. Sadio Mane as well, I think he's been thrown under a bus a little bit, which I do not get.
Still lost as Lewandowski gone as well, in all honesty. Potentially with Tottenham in the next year or so, if he does leave Tottenham, there's going to be such a gaping hole. But he is the best number 9 in the last 5-6 years in terms of out-and-out goals as a predator, as Lewandowski. Yes, you can talk about Benzema, but if you talk about consistent level performances, Robert Lewandowski, he's been absolutely superb. And in no respect to Chip Moteng or obviously the players that have come in, there's a lot of emphasis, as we know, on the likes of Musiala and young players. Gnabry were very inconsistent over the last couple of seasons for Bayern, but yeah, Sadio Mane isn't a like-for-like replacement. I think the only like-for-like replacement for a player like Lewandowski would be Harry Kane, and I've said in the past I think he should move to Bayern Munich. Harry Kane, I know he's got his Premier League record, but I think the team, if Kane did come into Bayern in the next 12 months, I mean, it so caters so much to him. It'd bring the best out of him, and I think it'd bring Bayern's level up even more, really, mate. But yeah, the neglect, really, and you look at the likes of obviously Goretzka and Kimmich in terms of that double pivot role. When Goretzka hasn't been there, there's a lack of their quality, especially Gravenberch failed to very much materialise the form in which he did show prior to his move in Ajax. And yeah, the drop off in terms of those two midfielders, especially Kimmich, when he's not played this season, there's massive flaws. Similar to Liverpool with our midfield, it's difficult to replace that at that quality. But a club like Bayern, you'd expect the resources and mainly the infrastructure, and especially the way in which they just poach all the best talent from all the Bundesliga teams. They should be doing better.
Yeah, no, they should 100%. I think the one thing as well is the fact that Bayern are very much like an old school team or club, I should say. And I think especially with the drama behind the scenes with Manuel Neuer and the captaincy and the whole interview that he did back in January, was it, or late December? Anyway, like again, like of course that was the whole thing coming back from the World Cup was just of the fact that Nagelsmann wants the likes of Kimmich to get the armband, and Neuer look like he's going to leave the door now. Probably with Tuchel coming in, Neuer comes back into the team when he recovers from his I think it's a broken hip or broken leg, I think it is as well. So again, it's. And of course, we'll speak about Tuchel as well, because of course there's so much around him as well, and why Bayern have decided to do it right now as well, that we're going to mention in a moment as well. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the chat down below as well. Let me quickly scroll up because there's a load of you in here as well. If you're new around here as well, please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button as well. I hope everyone is well today, says Mark. Bloody choke, says Gary. Bayern don't mess around. That's 100% true. Yeah, Everton's going down. Tom, points lost is not fun, as well, says Mark. Obviously, Tom will. We're not going to wind Tom up as much tonight because, again, there'll be time for that, maybe. Good, Mark. Hope you're well. Connor has posted a new Discord chat. Yeah, if there's in the comments down below. I'm good. Mega tired though, as well, says Mark. Munich are in peril for the City game. A clueless move right now, and I think that's the big thing though, Tom, isn't it? Is the fact that I think maybe Munich have looked at it and gone, well, we've got the Champions League coming up. We've got a brilliant opportunity to go and win it. Especially if we beat City. It's the fact that I think probably out of all the teams and out of all the squads, you'd probably go Madrid, Napoli, and probably Bayern then next in terms of winning the Champions League. But what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but saying that, they've just come off beating PSG, and I know PSG aren't like the best in the knockout stages, but through the history of the competition. But they've beat a really good team. They like the likes of Mbappe and Messi, who can turn the game around no matter what, home or away. So regardless, I don't think it would have made a big difference if they kept hold of him. Really, I think he still probably would have won it. It's his team at the end of the day. It's like Lampard when Chelsea sacked him. It was Lampard's team, but Tuchel just turned it around, and they happened to win the Champions League then.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick, I will send you an invite probably in a couple of days. Got a video coming up as well, so yeah, I don't know if you're.
We'll just have Ricky full screen, just moaning. That's fair, won't we?
Yeah. He's always moaning. Oh, by the way, Rick, me back's hurting here, lad.
We'll just do Ricky. But to be fair, I think Ricky's back aches for like one round, and then everyone else's. To be fair, Everton, the Espresso Blues as well, and mine. Discord link in the chat as well. Yeah, thank you, Mark, for that. Everton Football Club. Of course, there's 1882 Red Stevie's link. Kane is too old to move. I took that off, sorry. Again, StreamYard's a bit slow tonight, so again, if I double tap things, I do apologise. Kane is too old to move abroad now. Loves being also put in English anyway. But I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's the fact that I think either he's going to get, as Jack said, big money move to Bayern, or it's just going to be he's going to go to Manchester United.
A new 5-year deal and he just gets an extra 50, 100k a week for Tottenham. He's a joke though. At the end of his career, if he doesn't move, Tottenham, especially a player of his quality, needs to be getting that done.
Yeah, he does. It's not fair for him really. Well, it's a bit stupid, like you say, for him to decide I want to stay at Tottenham to create a legacy. I'm all down for that, but in reality, you're a player that wants to win trophies and you want a medal to put there and show your grandkids or your kids that, look, this is what Dad done. Not a stupid score. Tell you that how many goals you scored in one season. Come on, mate. Let's be serious.
Fair enough. It was your top scorer at a United or a Liverpool, but it's Spurs. Just saying.
Spurs' trophy cabinet's more empty than Everton's. Let's put it that way.
It seems to be though that his opportunity's been missed. I feel like if he was going to move, he would have moved already.
But that's his own fault, though, isn't it, mate? And I've always said it, not just this season, but you look at Bayern. It was quite well evident, really, over the last 2 years that Lewandowski wanted to move. He was going to run down his contract, and obviously you'd seen Kane do that interview. And I know, obviously, City went out and got Haaland, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Bayern do react, especially in the league, as you've already mentioned, the big one, Bayern versus Dortmund. I think Tuchel we'll speak about tonight, mate. He's in it at the ground running, but, and as we mentioned, if you're a City fan or if you're Pep Guardiola, you're absolutely fuming and furious considering Thomas Tuchel's got the hoodoo over really Manchester City, especially in European competitions, as we know, and even in the Premier League. If there's one manager that knows how to beat City, it's Thomas Tuchel. And I think he's got a much better squad that he's inherited than he had at Chelsea as well. So I think it's going to be even more of a easier task for him in reality.
No, it is, and I think that I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, because obviously at the beginning of Chelsea, he was going back and forth when he was between the 4 at the back and the 3-5 at the back. I think I'm interested to see how he plays with Mane. Especially what he wanted to do with Timo Werner. I think that's going to be interesting to see what he does with Mane. But again, Bayern have a very, very good squad, and again, with as everyone's mentioned, the fact that they are still only a point behind in the league, and supposedly this might be an awful season for Bayern Munich. Again, I just think that it's been, we'll speak about it in a moment, but I think it's been a lot of a quick reaction due to other teams and other clubs going for Tuchel as well. But we'll speak about it more in depth in a moment. At least Everton will have the best ground in the Championship.
Why do people think that we're going to play in the Championship next year, by the way, please? And plus the stadium's ready in 2024, so shush.
I don't think I'll get done by then, will I?
Get a Wonga loan for a
depending where the money's going to come from.
Yeah, told you, Thomas. Yeah, Arteta money, lads.
Arteta money. It's player power got him sacked. Yeah, I think that's a big key in it as well. Everton and the ladies 1-1.
Yeah, put that on the background there. So still known 1-1. 4 minutes left.
Thomas Tuchel's first game against Dortmund as well. Yeah, absolutely. And I started the game as well. Yeah, it's a crucial game, isn't it? Jack with his Bayern top, hoping to get.
Oh, lads, at least my team's still in the European competition.
Can I say, Jack, when are you going to start your Bayern Munich FC channel, lad?
That's what I was doing. That's why I've rechanged the name.
No, Jack. What is it? Jack Mac Bayern Munich.
Jack, yeah, groß Bayern.
Jack Mac gesprochen die Deutsch.
Tom, I've got some people who stream Championship games previews for next season, lads.
Oh God.
I don't know how Jack could wear that as well.
Not too bad. Not sound.
He's getting paid by someone, not me, by the way.
I wish.
Not me. Connor the Quizmaster next week. I need some hints, lads. I've already give you hints. But
Yeah, I don't know.
The one thing I will say is the second round is multiple choice, so
Oh, why have you done that for him? Why have you done that for him?
Because it's I don't need Ricky having a tantrum.
Just leave it his own channel.
I was thinking about it, and I was like I was watching how bad the reaction was the first time, when there was no multiple choice. I felt sorry for Ricky, and he was like, the thing is though, if there was multiple choice, he would have won the quiz. So again,
That's Luke even better.
That's Luke.
Oh, even better. There we go.
Well, to be fair, Luke as well, but yeah, I thought I'd put it there for Ricky anyway. But yeah, multiple choice for the second round anyway. To be fair, but it's not Ricky, lads. Well, me back certain lads. It's too positive to be Ricky as well. I thought it was Ricky the first couple of ones, but then I gathered it was Luke. If they can't get Ozyman, then they do as well, says Brian. Ozyman's going to cost a lot of money in the summer. I think you're looking at 100 million euros at least, probably.
How long's he got left in his contract?
I think 2026, is it? Ozyman?
Yeah, Ozyman's not going for anywhere less than 150. Easy. Never.
Didn't need to see Jack full screen. Why not?
Oh, now you have Mark. Do it again. Hit him again. Yeah. It's the weekend, Mark. Enjoy it, lad.
That was just too cold.
Hopefully everyone's not had the tea. Yeah, that sounds...
I've won more than Harry Kane. I won Division 3 league title in Hackney and Leighton league last season. Jesus Christ. I wouldn't want my club to be giving Harry Kane a huge contract signing at 30, not with his injury record as well. It's Spurs though, isn't it? It's just keeping, especially now with him getting the England record as well last night. Again, that's another couple of thousand on the contract at least anyway. I agree with Jack. It's his own fault signing a new deal, 100%.
It is, but on his own fault. I think Levy as well. I think Levy's got him in a cage, personally, because I think he'll ask for far too much money.
I've just thought of we play Search and yeah, we play.
Oh no!
So it's an in-house joke. Yeah, we won't say. But yeah,
no.
If I'm Musiala as well, giving it to Bayern Munich anyway. I tell you what, obviously he's got. I'm not too sure how long Musiala's got left, but he's the star boy, especially for Bayern Munich. And I tell you what, I'd love it especially if there was a bit of disagreement or there was any internal problems in terms of obviously Bayern Munich. You never know. There could have been a massive falling out from different hierarchy. Obviously, Connie will go into it in more greater detail. I know very soon, mate. But it will be interesting because, especially if there's a lot of discords, I think there would have been quite a lot of favoured players in terms of Nagelsmann, very respected, especially in German football. And you never know. Obviously, with Nagelsmann, where he goes, then a couple of players might actually follow suit.
Yeah, absolutely. Please let Ricky have a tantrum. It would be epic as well. It says Luke. Anything above 3 words, it's Luke. Ricky can just get. It's Luke. Ricky can just get the two. To be fair, it's either that or hashtag FSG out. That's the best one I think for Rick as well. But have a good streamline as well. Yeah, I think.
Hey, hold on. I'm gonna.
Obviously, Luke's going as well. So thank you for tuning in. Jack Station. Good night, Luke, as well. Bedtime, Mark. Lol. Stay safe, fellas. Walk alone. In the kitchen. Yeah. Not gonna say that. But yeah, well, I'm going to speak more in depth now, of course, about Thomas Tuchel. Anyway, and of course, people will react about why have Bayern Munich decided, first of all, to go with Thomas Tuchel and why now. Of course, I think Fabrizio Romano mentioned the fact that Spurs had already spoken to his agency over the vacant move. But more importantly, and I think is the biggest takeaway from it, is Real Madrid. Very much we're after Thomas Tuchel for next season. Now, we've heard that Carlo Ancelotti is going to be leaving, or might be leaving, at the end of the season.
Come back there, Vlad.
No chance for that. I see no chance of that. Do you think he's going to manage in the Championship?
I'm not calling, I'm telling you.
But
for non-Scouse locals, sorry there, Con. For non-Scouse locals, there's a place in Liverpool called the Chicken Gaff in Bootle, and Carlo Ancelotti, not supposedly, he loved it in Bootle. He loved the Chicken Gaff. The amount of times he'd be spotted walking around Bootle Strand was amazing. So yeah, Carlo loves the Chicken Gaff.
God's sake, McKenna.
I should have went to the final last year and said, "Yeah, Carlo, do you want some sumai or like some salt and pepper chicken?" What he does, he does like. I bet if I asked him and sat down in a momentary press conference, hey lad, remember when you bought 20 packs, 20 pack of ciggies and just want some chicken, lad.
You can tell this is just a random Friday night stream, can't you? But
oh no.
But speaking of Carlo Ancelotti, obviously, I think Edison was speaking about it last week about the Real Madrid players think that he will be the next Brazil manager, which I thought was a mad one. Anyway, but if we're talking about Thomas Tuchel going to potentially going to Real Madrid, and that's a conversation, and obviously now with him going to Bayern, it's now opening a door of who's next for Madrid. Do they potentially go for? I'm just trying to think in terms of managers. Nagelsmann obviously could go to Real Madrid if they very much wanted to do that.
Potential rumours of Mourinho going back.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho. Can we see anyone else going to that Madrid job at the moment?
Zidane?
I don't know. Well, they've been there twice, haven't they? I think they've burnt the bridge.
It wouldn't stop them again for a third time, will it? Let's be honest.
We go back again. Yeah, third time.
Zidane's like the cat who got 7 lives. They'll still keep going back.
He's like, we'll go again. But it's interesting because I said to you lads yesterday, as soon as that news broke, I said someone's going to be. I knew instantly Thomas Tuchel would go for the Bayern Munich job, considering obviously his reputation in terms of Bundesliga football. It was more or less a match made in heaven. I think, as you alluded to there, Con, if he was linked with the Real Madrid job, Tuchel, I think he's a coach that is very much in demand. And if anyone gets offered a job at Real, I'd say, apart from obviously Jurgen Klopp and like Pep Guardiola, you can definitely rule those two managers out. But I think if anyone, no one's job's safe, in all honesty. If a team like Real Madrid comes in for your manager, you've got no chance in hell of keeping hold of them at all.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think I'm just trying to quickly have a look if anything's been else has been mentioned about it, because so supposedly according to Fabrizio Romano, Tottenham were very much leading the race to be getting Tuchel in, which again now offers the conversation of, does Nagelsmann go to Spurs, or is there could Pochettino go back to Spurs once again? You even got top managers there like Luis Enrique as well that apparently don't have a job as well. But I think it's especially interesting with Thomas Tuchel, because I think last year came up with an interview saying that there's only one team that he would love to manage, and that would be Real Madrid. But I just thought it was pretty much interesting. But again, obviously in the title as well with Jurgen Klopp. Of course, the rumours was this morning that he had got offered the job or Bayern had contacted Jurgen in terms of the vacant job, and Jurgen straight away turned them down, supposedly, which again is a good sign for Liverpool in that regard. And again, I think Jurgen even mentioned it, I think during the FA Cup run as well, that Bayern had offered him the job 3 times before that as well. So again, Bayern massive admirers of Jurgen Klopp.
You can basically equivalence of Fergie getting offered the Liverpool job and them telling him to swivel. Because I think his allegiances to Dortmund, and especially Mainz as well, I think Jurgen Klopp, he'd much rather retire. I think if you'd asked him, he'd be like, and he's been on record over the last couple of years when he was asked about, as you mentioned there, Con, his links, and he was like, no chance. But yeah, it just goes to show how lucky and very fortunate Liverpool, as we all know, we are to have Jurgen Klopp at the helm.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if anyone knows in the chat how many managers have managed both Dortmund and Bayern Munich. I don't know if they... I'll try and see if I can find that. I should have done that for the stream, but...
Is there anyone that's done that?
Yeah, I'll do that now.
That's right.
There probably defo has to have been a couple. Yeah, I'll have a little look.
I would go to say I think 3 managers have, I think, but again, I'm not entirely sure.
Fella that won.
I'd go with 2.
Who's the manager when Bayern won the Champions League? Remember with Van Buiten? Oh no, when he got beat. The very old fella. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know his name.
Blanc.
No, when the year when he got beat by Inter Milan all those years ago, when he had like Van Buiten and that playing centre half.
Van Bommel and all that.
Yeah, Van Bommel. That era, that manager, I think it was. Hang on.
I'll have a quick look now. So what would that be in 2010? Yeah, Louis van Gaal was June. Wait, it was 2009, wasn't it? 2009, 2010.
It was a Van Gaal.
Van Gaal was the one the next season. It says Louis van Gaal was the manager of Bayern Munich 2009-10. Was it 2010?
It's coming up with bloody players that played for Bayern.
Doug's already put it in. Otmar Hitzfeld, I think that's pronounced his name, is 1, and I'm sure, and Thomas Tuchel as well, so 2. God.
Couldn't say there'll be many that, like...
Good quiz question, though. Also.
Yeah, put that one in your quiz, Connor.
It's not Premier League.
Oh, crap.
How many former Premier League managers have also managed Bayern Munich?
Bayern Munich and Dortmund.
Thomas Tuchel, that's it. That's the team he couldn't manage as well. I thought he said before he wanted to finish his career with Bayern, and then Germany, Dortmund's rivals, and Schalke. That's the derby as well. I read somewhere that he wanted Madrid as well.
Who's that?
Tuchel.
Oh, Tuchel.
I'm sure I've seen somewhere that he wanted to manage Madrid at least like one time in his career anyway.
Yeah, I am aiming, but I'm a glory hunter in the Bundesliga, just say that.
Trying to get sponsors from Germany now, that's why.
Got to appease the masses. Might have to get a shout at there. Saying that they're like bombing the table. So definitely not them.
Say that, but then they end up getting a draw against buddy Dortmund 2 weeks ago, which absolutely annoyed me. Tuchel cannot play 5 at the back at Bayern as well. He's got the defensive players to do it when you think about it. Like Pavard's can go either right back,
right centre half. Yeah, you got obviously Alphonso Davies, Stanisic. Obviously the new right back anyway. He can more or less a right back / centre half. De Ligt, Upamecano.
I think you know what. Technically, the squad that is currently at Bayern Munich, it'll probably be ideal for them to suit the 5 at the back because, like you say, they haven't got the striker to go up front unless you put Muller up there.
Yeah,
I think we might even see a Musiala false nine. I think maybe, but then again, I don't think that's probably his best position because he's been playing on the left quite a lot, hasn't he?
Young lad Tell as well for Bayern Munich. He's very young, but I don't think he's good enough really at this moment in time to lead the line for Bayern. But yeah, it's going to be interesting when you bring in the summer because obviously if you're Thomas Tuchel, he's a manager that requires money, like most modern managers, and it's mad how the criticism already for Mane. Was it you said that gone today that there was a lot of criticism in relation to Sadio Mane of like the manager or like is it presidents speaking about Mane?
It's just fans. I think just like listen to that Bayern podcast. They were like the majority feeling around Sadio Mane is why did we sign him? Because he hasn't really replicated at the moment what he did in Liverpool. And that's the thing. Like people, like I still think Sadio Mane is a brilliant footballer, but I think people to forget that the last 6 months of his Liverpool career was probably one of his best periods at the club. I think for probably 18 months before that, Mane was struggling a little bit. He wasn't like if he was crap. I'm not saying that, but how many like look, if anyone goes back, watch that Leeds United game away from home, where he had like 12 chances and only scored 1 goal from the 12 chances.
He's done well to adapt his game, though, mate, and I think this is what Bayern fans are not understanding. Even when I've watched Bayern over the last couple of years, they didn't need a Mane type player, especially down that left hand side. You got Gnabry, obviously Sane as well, Musiala, and obviously Thomas Muller, very adaptable. He can play anywhere in terms of the forward 4 positions in a 4-2-3-1 formation. So it was a player that Bayern, as I said, as we all said at the top of the show, it wasn't a Lewandowski-esque signing, a poacher, to say the least. I think you're looking at, especially in Italy, I think you look at the likes of Vlahovic, certain other big, tall strikers in Europe, especially I think he wouldn't surprise me if a Bayern go after Vlahovic, because I think similar with him, Kane, a player that ability that's quite mobile but guarantees you goals. I think, it just doesn't suit him. Sadio Mane playing up front. And even as you said there, Con, if Mane was playing at left mid at Liverpool, he's got Luis Diaz behind him, a fresh, young, up-and-coming player. I think Mane's deterioration in form down that left was quite evident, and that's why inevitably he was forced into those central areas. And I think Liverpool done so well to false advertise a player in a different position and give him a kind of new lease of life. But yeah, the fact that we still got 40 odd million for Mane, considering the bad spell pre-African Cup of Nations before he went to that tournament, it's quite remarkable and happy days for us.
It's a little bit like that, though, isn't it? It was kind of like a reversal of between Mo and Sadio. Like Mo went into it being the best player in the world, as we were saying. Sadio lacking confidence coming out of it. It was completely the other way. It was like Sadio Mane, best player in the world, Mo lacking confidence, and that's a fruition throughout the season. But as you said, and as we saw, Liverpool managed to somehow get Luis Diaz, Sadio Mane, and Mo Salah to be absolutely brilliant. And you look at Bayern Munich, for example, and say a front 3, you've got Sane, Musiala, Muller, Mane. It's particularly hard because again, it's either that 4-2-3-1 or that 3 at the back at Bayern. And I think realistically, I don't think Nagelsmann knew, as you said, Jack, and as Thomas said as well, they didn't know his best position, and that's been a little bit of not a wake-up call towards Bayern, but as Jack said, they don't have a proper striker or number 9 at the club, and it's going to cost Bayern a pretty penny if they want a top striker at the club now.
But sorry there, mates. Get Tom's points. For me, they've absolutely got so lucky in terms of getting Lewandowski. They got him on a free. They got one of the best strikers in the whole of Europe on a free transfer from Borussia Dortmund. they're not used to spending money, which is mad. I think obviously of already you look at the comments that the Bayern Munich chief executives in the Bundesliga, like especially in the Bundesliga as well, the owners and all that, speaking about the Premier League, they absolutely despise the Prem, given the extent and all the money that's in there. The Bayern historically in the past 10-year period, yes, they've bought like the odds big player here and there, but they're not a club that really spends a lot of money. They spend so much money and pride themselves quite heavily in terms of obviously the academy as well. I'm just looking at Tell coming in, and obviously young players as well, and Musiala, the prime example. Like the quality is there, and that's one good thing. I've spoke to Tom about this week. The Germany has got it absolutely spot on, and we know that in terms of the academies. That Bayern, if you push them into a corner, I don't think that they're going to be spending 180 odd million pound on a striker. And I think that's what's going to be interesting about Tuchel, because he wants money.
I was about to ask Tom, is as Jack's nail on the head there, you look at Thomas Tuchel's last couple of clubs, PSG, loads of money, Chelsea, a load of money, and as Jack said, it's the fact that Bayern do recruit, a lot of money in what they earn as well. So it is the fact of how is Thomas Tuchel going to fare? Because again, I think the first 6 months, of course, is a trial period, but then what happens after this season? Because again, I think going back onto the Bayern board, it does feel like if they don't go and win the Bundesliga or the Champions League, then there is massive, egg on their face
Pressure.
scenario. Yeah,
there is pressure. Yeah. There's big time. And coming off of what Jack said before, Bayern, are very good at recruiting. They never spend silly amounts of money on like superstars of like what, or like potentially of like what the big teams do in the Champions League, should we say? But they're renownedly hated in the German league because they always buy the young talent for a small fee, and I think that's why they always seem to look better than what they actually really do. Like look at Manuel Neuer, they signed him when he was young from Schalke. Who's the other kid that they signed as well?
Well, they got Hummels on quite cheap.
Yeah, they got Hummels, but they've also even, let's put it this way, Gravenbach as well from Ajax, young kid, bought him pretty much on a fair cheap. I think it was a cheap deal when you think about it. Could have went for a lot more if Ajax wanted to be stubborn. But
Leon Goretzka as well, Tom. Obviously, got from Schalke. So they're quite cheap considering the quality of player.
But for example, like Kimmich is he at Stuttgart before?
That's another one.
Yeah. So again, but it's all. That's the thing, though. It's all from the Bundesliga. They never get any. Well, they do get players outside the Bundesliga, but never big young talent outside of the Bundesliga. But again, that's how Bayern have worked and been so successful.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how they can keep the £100 season tickets for the fans, and that's good. Like fantastic for the fans and everything. But I think long term, as a league, I think they need to somehow get more revenue or get more money into the league. In all honesty, but it would be lovely if there was a different winner in the Bundesliga, but I don't think there will be, just given the quality already in the squad.
Yeah, but you also have to remember as well that Bayern Munich are they've got a percentage with the fans. So whatever the fans, they have to agree with the fans if it's going to work or not, and that's why the tickets are at the price or what they are. And I think a majority of the clubs in Bundesliga are like that as well now. I think they've seen the right way. Yeah,
it's the 50+1 rule, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Again, they have nailed it down to a T. It's like you look at, for example, like look at Liverpool with Spirit of Shankly. Look how divided that is at times, certainly on social media, but just in general.
Yeah, the fan experience. If anyone's ever thinking about going, it's amazing. Like I've never been, but I've got mates and I'm open to go this season if I can. But yeah, it's probably the best experience that you will have as a football fan. Even if you don't even support the team, just go and experience it. And obviously, it's absolutely bob on. It's like if the Premier League could actually take that model, but of course, given the excessive money in the Prem, it's never gonna really be like that, sadly.
100%. Brenton, in terms of rivalry, Dortmund v Bayern is like Liverpool versus City, but Dortmund v Schalke is like Liverpool versus United, much bigger and older local rival as well. Finished for obviously France beat Holland 4-0.
Holland didn't even have half of the team anyway, so
a dodgy chick carry, if you believe the rumours. To Bayern, I reckon, as well, potentially. Mane has been injured recently, but it hasn't worked out for him, to be honest. We need to get our injury players back for City and hope we don't get any injuries in these international games. We've barely got any players out on international duty, I don't think. I think everyone's either come back or just haven't gone. If Bayern go trophyless, then this will be a pointless move by Bayern. I would agree. Brian says Gravenberch only had 1 year left. That's how Bayern operates as well. True, but Bayern somehow got it down from 35 million to 14 million. I think it was in the end.
Pennies.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like, buttons.
Ridiculous. We've got Tuchel. Tuchel has too much temper too as well. Just look at him and Antonio Conte.
That's the thing. No, even like Paris Saint-Germain as well gone. In chance if you didn't see, obviously when he got the sack at Paris Saint-Germain, he and we've said give it a year, especially if it's not going his way. I think his toys will well and truly go up the prime because at every club, as you said there, he's always fell out with the people above him. And Bayern, as we know, the ex-players and obviously Kahn, he's got a big, obviously, I think he holds a big role at Bayern and he's very outspoken, as we know in the past. But yeah, I'd say give it 12 months for Tuchel. As we've said, if it's not going well, I think there will be massive in-house fighting. Well and truly.
Yeah, 100%. Mane went to Munich because he thought he would win a couple of easy league titles and maybe a Champions League. Yeah, maybe. But then I still think, again, when you look at the top teams in Europe, Bayern are well and truly up there, aren't they? Realistically. Get that Everton allocated. As Doug said, hello Ricky now as well. But again, it just feels like if they don't get a trophy this season, then it would have been a waste of time, and they could have potentially done it in the summer. But again, it's like we've mentioned in terms of Tuchel, that's who they wanted. Again, Real Madrid, Tottenham were knocking on the door. But if we're talking Nagelsmann, then Tom, where could you think that he could go next? Because I think it would be obviously, I think Spurs, of course, has been mentioned today. That of course Spurs would love to get Nagelsmann in the door, but I feel like it would just be too soon. Especially, I think when people say that you need time to adjust and have a look at what's happened over the last couple of days, especially and according to I think a German outlet today, I think even that Nagelsmann has ended his relationship with his long-term I think girlfriend or wife, I believe today. So again, multiple life-changing things happening over the last 24, 48 hours. But what are your thoughts on where Nagelsmann might go and just the Spurs link in general?
Personally, for me, I think he's going to sit back for a while. Like you say, I think he's got more issues with his personal life than he has getting sacked, personally, than thinking about getting a new job. I think probably standing on his own 2 feet for a while just to get things sorted, get his head in the right frame of mind. Personally, for me, I think it would be a bit stupid if he does go for the Tottenham job, because if he can't work for Conte, what makes him gonna work for him? If Conte's arguing with Levy on top, doesn't he think that he's gonna have the same issues? Yeah. So yeah, personally for me, I think he just needs to hold back and see what other offers there that's probably more suited for him. Let's put it that way.
100%. It wouldn't surprise me if in 6 months' time if Madrid offered him the new deal, offered him a deal if Ancelotti is going, for example. But again, it's whether or not Ancelotti is actually going or not. Doug's mentioned as well Inter Milan in the comments potentially for Nagelsmann.
No,
I think Conte. I think Conte will get that.
Yeah, Conte easy, spot on there. So he'll go. Inzaghi's, as Doug said, he's already under immense pressure. Inzaghi, but for me, it's Nagelsmann. No disrespect to any Inter Milan fans if he's watching, doubt it, but he deserves better. Nagelsmann, I think he can do better. And if you're spot on there, Con, even if Nagelsmann has to take a sabbatical for say 6 to 8 months. And he was told by Real Madrid, just give it 6 months. So I think it'd be wise to do that. If I was Nagelsmann coming off the back of a big job like that, we've seen Klopp take a little bit of a rest before. He obviously very highly publicised that he couldn't wait. He had to ask his wife, Jurgen, before he took the Liverpool job. But he was just biting at the bit, really, to get back into football. Same with Pep Guardiola as well. He, at his time, post by Barcelona. But I think if I was Nagelsmann, I'd be sitting on my hands at the minute and just analysing, really, because there's a lot of teams in Europe very much struggling. Obviously not in a European stage, obviously into the next round of the Champions League in the quarters, but even still, I think domestically for a lot of these teams, the top teams, it is king, in all honesty, for me.
Yeah, absolutely. To answer your question, Doug, yes, I would take Nagelsmann at Liverpool. I think looking at his time at Bayern, in my opinion, I think he's too modern for the higher ups at Bayern Munich. I think for Liverpool, with an English team, I think you do actually do quite well. But then again, obviously, I'm not done with Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, unlike some people. What?
Well, no way. Fake news. Yeah, lies. But yeah, no, it's the thing. It's going to be interesting for me. I'd definitely have him on my radar as a football club. But you think about it, and surely you'd think Liverpool have thought that 5 years ahead. You've got a future plan, and Jurgen Klopp, would you say, lads, and chat, he's going to have a massive say. Similar when Shankly left. Shankly had a massive say at who obviously took over. Bob obviously was already in the boot room, but you'd hope that Jurgen Klopp will have very much a name in mind that he feels that Liverpool would be best suited to employing. You look at, obviously, Xabi Alonso. I know he's very early in his managerial career, especially getting that big job, beating Julian Nagelsmann last week, 2-1 in the Bundesliga. So there's a lot of very talented, obviously, you look at the Sporting Lisbon coach. I think he's the next big name manager to step into the European spotlight. So there's a lot of very talented managers, but as we know in modern day football, they only get it in a very small time frame to very much deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've thrown Pep Linda's name around for a very long time. Again, the more and more I think about it, the more unlikely it's going to happen.
He didn't do it, and if he'd done it in Holland, if he'd done well, but he just didn't. He got found out massively, and yeah, for where Liverpool have been and all of us, we're there now. Obviously, just below Manchester City in the Premier League. I know we've had a bad season this year, but Jurgen Klopp has spent the last 5-6 years trying to build that Liverpool Football Club back up to where we crave to be for 30 years in the Premier League. And the manager that comes in, he's got a massive job on his hands to keep those consistent levels. So, by the way you do that, if Jurgen says, right, I've had enough when it's end of his contract, we can't be employing the likes of bloody Brendan Rodgers and rubbish. In all honesty, that was him coming into the football club. The fact that he walked into the club and he just, don't get started. I'll be here for another 20 years talking about that silly sausage.
It's all right, mate. Roy's still around if you want him as well. Good old boy.
Brendan the bottler. Yeah.
To be fair, that's a whole talking point in itself. Like, how is Roy Hodgson back in management? Like, how? He's so stupid.
He's almost worse than Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, but the thing is, Sam Allardyce hasn't been in a job since, what, 2018? 2019? Somewhere around there?
What was his last job? Was it West Brom? Right there. I'm trying to think who it was.
Probably.
Yeah.
Was he Hughes? Maybe?
No, it was Palace. Who? Sam Allardyce?
Yeah.
Yeah, was it Palace?
He's still living off his England contract when he got found out gambling, didn't he? He's a match fixing.
Contract.
I think that's a shame, that, because I think he probably would have been a decent England manager, you know.
Are you having a laugh? Sam Allardyce in charge.
Nah, I'm being serious. Mate, honestly, I'd have some, like, if you said to me now between Southgate or Allardyce, you would pick Allardyce over fucking Southgate.
Hang on a minute, Tom. If you had the choice right now, say if Dyche left tomorrow, and you had the choice of Sam Allardyce or Gareth Southgate as Everton manager, who would you go with?
Allardyce all day. All day. All day, mate.
Just end this.
One, Allardyce knows the Premier League. Fucking Southgate doesn't got a clue.
Bloody hell. I seen the links with Peter shared today. That's great. Yeah, don't believe any of those links.
No, yeah.
Again, it, as we were speaking about earlier on, there's no way that Liverpool will go after someone that's now worth, was it 50 million? I think he is now. That is on a free, just 6 months ago.
6 months ago,
yeah. Really again, Mark as well. But yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Anyway, but. We'll end the show there, but before we do end the show, I will go to Jack and Tom as well. How many trophies will Bayern Munich win this season?
Oh.
I'll start off with Jack, and then we'll go to Tom.
Yes, they will win the Bundesliga. I've watched both teams quite heavily this season, because if you're not watching Bundesliga football this season, chat, I know we're battling in the Premier League and in Europe for Liverpool. But I'm more fuming that Hertha Berlin literally dropped off the face of the earth. In all honesty, I think they've gone about 6-8 points behind the top two in Bundesliga, but it will be Bayern Munich, mate. I think the last 3 campaigns, it was the year before last, Borussia Dortmund well and truly bottled it again. They always do it, like at the last hurdle. But if they can win the game this week, coming anyway, the big game, but Bayern Munich's quality for me. So I'd say, yeah, Bayern a win, just the Bundesliga. I can't foresee them winning the Champions League, sadly.
Have they won their cup?
The Pulse,
like their FA, have they won that?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so, no.
Or are they still in that? Is that still in the run?
I'll have a quick look, but I don't think they have. No. Go. The Polska, then.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they did. Yeah.
No, they got.
Yeah, they got knocked out early, didn't they?
Freiburg. They've got it in the composition still, in the quarters.
Yeah.
You've got Frankfurt, Union Berlin, Bayern, Freiburg, Nuremberg versus Stuttgart and Leipzig, Dortmund.
Oh yeah, they'll be playing Dortmund basically in the semi-finals if they get through. Yeah.
So this is my prediction. I think they'll win. the Bruska Cup, and Dortmund will win the Bundesliga.
Do neither of you have them for the Champions League?
No. They'd need to beat Real Madrid, wouldn't they, and City?
Yeah.
I think if what for me, I think they do. I think they beat City. I think it's when they play Madrid in the semis.
That's gonna be one hell of a game. Yeah,
I think that's where the issue lies. If Tuchel can break down Ancelotti's tactical masters, European genius.
Tom, all Carlo has is the chicken gaff. the eyebrow.
The Chinese chicken gaff, lad. Don't forget about his coffees as well, lad.
Yeah, he loves his coffees.
Special Carlo coffee.
Yeah. Oh, well.
But yeah, I'm going with 1 cup. I reckon Bayern will get 1 cup this year.
Yeah, I think they'll win the Bundesliga, and that's all they'll win. I think. I have no faith in Dortmund to go and I say to go on and win the title, but to be fair, I thought they would have dropped off, way before now. But again, I hope Dortmund win it, but I just think Bayern.
It's always the Pokal Dortmund always usually end up winning, don't they? Because over the last couple of years, I think obviously not Nagelsmann. I think Tuchel won it a couple of times. Obviously, Jurgen, we know he won it in the past as well with them.
They won it last season as well, was it?
Yeah, Dortmund. Yeah, because you had Jude with the trophy and that, didn't you? So yeah, they won it last year. So if Bayern do win it, which I'm anticipating in the league, I think Dortmund will knock them out in the semis. But that's a big game in itself. RB Leipzig versus Dortmund in the quarters. So, but yeah, will be interesting to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. England would have been smashed if it was against France. Yeah, 100%. And obviously, Mark put in Jack's link in the comments down below as well. But we are going to leave it there, guys. We have been live for an hour speaking about, of course, Bayern Munich and Nagelsmann getting sacked, Tuchel getting appointed. I think, again, if they don't win anything, like we've mentioned in the video, it's what was it? What was the point? But again, I think obviously with Madrid looming, with Tottenham looming, I think it was now or never, realistically, for that anyway. But before we do head off, anyway, Jack, thank you for coming on. Do you have anything else to say?
Massive thank you. And if anyone's wanting to go with that chicken gaff, Connor, I need to I might even do it like a sod like a tour of Anfield. We'll do a chicken gaff tour in Costa del Buto.
Do you think you are a food reviewer?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing on my second channel.
McKendall's new TikTok channel.
Right, what they bang, and for some weird reason they do bang. You just have me just eating some like packets of Domino's crisps or something. I'll just for 2 hour live stream, just me scanning on crisps. Probably be more entertaining than the content that I do produce anyway. So, but yeah, a massive thank you for having me on, mate, and a massive thank you to everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day. Obviously, you start your weekend early, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's always a good laugh. Us free, and yeah, it's good.
Do you know what? Now I guarantee McKendall tonight is just going to make a new channel, like McKendall Eats or something like that.
You do see some weird stuff on Twitch. Like
yeah. Don't want to mention
McKendall's in and out.
I've got the mic for it anyway, so might as well get best used to it.
Some dodgy ASMR anyway. But Tom, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you very much for coming on. And have you got anything else to say before we end the stream?
No, thank you for having me on, and it's been a laugh as always. But yeah, like Jack said, I hope everyone has a great weekend, and see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, and guys, please go and subscribe to Anfield Road TV. And again, please be nice to Tom, because again, Everton are going to get points deducted.
Everton!
No, and it was their manager that they got currently grassed them up last year. So
lads, it'll be fine. It'll be sad.
Cue the Ian Bill memes of Tom crying in the corner.
No,
I've lost it all.
No, it's going to be when the guy walks into the room with a pizza box and everything's burning around him. He's like, Tom's like, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. If we get done, then we know City are definitely getting done.
So that's one positive. But yeah, guys, hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your weekend anyway. If there isn't any more news, of course, we'll be live on Monday anyway, because we do have a couple of videos coming out, I think, on Sunday. So I think one of them's on Mason Mount as well, that we're going to be speaking about him and Liverpool potential signing as well. But Until then, we will see you all then. I've been Colin from the Cup Council. Please check out the Discord as well. Thank you, Mark, for putting in the link in the chat down below as well. Until then, see you all then. Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
Ta-da.